Game sucks. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to head to our Instagram page and follow us there so you can get all the latest updates of what the Game Boys do when we try to pretend like we have actual lives. It's like reality TV, but even stupider. Also, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, hit us up on Snapchat, follow us on MySpace, follow us on LiveJournal, subscribe to our newsletter, send us a telegram, and... Wait. Hold on. You mean I'm actually gonna have to put effort into this? Okay, fine. Listen. I'm not sure how you stumbled across this video, but I'm glad you're here, because I desperately need somebody to vent to, and my mom stopped answering my calls.
Mom, you don't understand. I have to deliver these packages.
Chris, I love you dearly, but if you call me again, I'm gonna call the cops.
If you're the kind of guy that thinks Hideo Kojima is above criticism and the second coming of video game Jesus, then you may want to move on to something else, because I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that not only is Death Stranding more disappointing than the mere existence of Olive Garden, but I genuinely cannot remember the last time I actively hated playing something as much as Death Stranding. By now, I'm sure most of you have at least heard something about how the game works. Some have said it's a walking simulator, some have said it's a truck driving simulator, some have said it's an Amazon delivery man simulator. Well, I'm here to say that all those people are 100% wrong. It's actually all three of those things. You play as Norman Reedus, a guy in a post-apocalyptic future where ghosts have infiltrated the living world and almost everybody is in hiding. And for Norman, every day is bring your kid to work day, as the only way he can see and fight these ghosts is to carry around a baby in a jar who senses them for him. While doing that, he's also trying to connect America back together by connecting everyone to the chiral network, which is essentially this game's version of the super internet. So basically, you're literally and figuratively building bridges and trying to connect people again. The name of Norman's character, by the way, is Sam Porter Bridges.
Sam Porter Bridges.
And that's also the name of the foundation he's working for.
As a member of Bridges, you're gonna work with the rest of us to rebuild America.
Yeah, subtlety is not this game's strong suit.
Just make the subtext text. Go!
What's also not this game's strong suit is its mission design. If any of that stuff before sounded interesting to you, don't worry, the interest will quickly fade away once you get into the gameplay. Let's put it this way. Are you a fan of fetch quests? Have you ever dreamed of there being a game where it's nothing but fetch quests? And have you also wanted that same game to control like QWOP? If so, you're either insane or you're Hideo Kojima, because that's exactly what this game is. Since you're essentially playing a delivery man, when walking around you have to balance everything on your back by shifting between holding down L2 and R2. If you don't, then you trip and have to pick everything up again. And God help you if you trip down a mountain. You also have to do this while making sure your baby isn't stressed out, making sure you have enough resources to make equipment, making sure you don't go over your limit of the amount of stuff you're allowed to carry, otherwise you can't walk, fixing your cargo if it gets rusted, stay out of the rain because, by the way, now it rains time. If rain touches your cargo, it rusts a lot faster, maintaining your blood supply, making sure your boots don't wear out, backtracking to where you came from if you don't have a necessary piece of equipment to help get around high places, praying to God that you can climb up the face of a cliff so that you don't have to take another 30 minutes to try and find your way around the mountain, and by the time you get to where you need to go, the destination looks exactly the same as the place you left from. There is no deviation from this formula. Once in a blue moon, you'll encounter some enemies known as BTs, which are the ghosts I mentioned earlier, and mules, which are rogue delivery men who steal packages because they need to get a drug rush from delivering cargo. Don't ask, I have no idea. However, every enemy in this game is so easy to beat that it would make the LEGO games look like Dark Souls. I kid you not, I was playing the last boss fight in the game, and knew that I was in absolutely no danger of dying, and fell asleep with the controller in my hand. Ow. You wanna know what the worst enemy in this game is? Rocks. You'll be able to use vehicles later in the game, which makes travel slightly better, but the rocks will sometimes impede your progress, cause your vehicles to either stall or go all over the place, and if you're walking over the rocks, a lot of times it will cause you to trip and drop all your shit, and generally just make the experience even more of a pain than it already is. All of these systems could have been tolerated. All of this could be acceptable if it wasn't for the fact that it was just so mundane. While there are some cool things to look at every now and again, pretty much all the environments look identical. The world feels dead and lifeless, which makes sense considering it's after the apocalypse, but there are so many other games that take place in the apocalypse that have fun and interesting things to see and do. Every once in a while, however, there are moments where you're walking along by yourself and the game's soundtrack kicks in. At the right time, in the right circumstance, the soundtrack is so good and the graphics are so gorgeously rendered that it can really give you a moment of full peace and tranquility. Then you trip on a rock and all that shit just goes right out the window. There's an interesting way in which online is implemented where if somebody does something like leave a ladder on a cliff in their game, then that ladder can show up in your game, which will make your travel a little bit easier. Sometimes other players will leave you equipment, and sometimes they'll even be willing to drop off side mission packages for you. So if you're able to sucker somebody into playing this game for you, I highly suggest that you do. This is an interesting idea, and it's cool to see in practice, but the problem is it does not make the core gameplay any more fun, it just makes it slightly less tedious. You can be one of these artsy types to try and make the argument and say, oh, fun isn't what he was going for, he's going for a different type of experience. Well, listen, if the experience he was going for was boring, then yeah, he fucking nailed it, 10 out of 10. Get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder, walk up the mountain, climb down the mountain, get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder, walk up the mountain, climb down the mountain, get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder, walk up the mountain, climb down the mountain, get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder, walk up the mountain, climb down the mountain, get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder, walk up the mountain, climb down the mountain, get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder, walk up the mountain, climb down the mountain, get the package, walk through rocks, climb a ladder. It'll drive you fucking insane!
The fuck is that?
But Chris, you yell through your computer monitor in righteous fury. Kojima games aren't about the gameplay. It's about the story. The story is going to save the experience. No! I shout back half-heartedly, knowing full well that nobody ever listens to me. Don't get me wrong. The story has its moments, and when it hits, it really hits. However, the problem is that those moments are way too few and far between. In Metal Gear Solid, there was always this balance of extremely serious with extremely goofy to create a sense of self-awareness.
Did you say nerd?
Not nerd, node.
Oh.
Here, the goofy moments happen once in a blue moon, which makes everything surrounding the story seem so much more melodramatic. It doesn't seem like you can go a single cutscene without somebody crying, and while the story explains this away as an allergic reaction to chiral crystals, it does not take away from the fact that it makes it look as though almost everyone is overacting. The performances in the game are not that great for the most part, with a couple of exceptions. The actors who voice Guillermo del Toro and Nicholas Winding Refn do a good job. It's fun seeing Troy Baker ham it up, and Mads Mikkelsen actually gives a stellar performance and completely steals the spotlight whenever he's on screen. Surprisingly, Norman Reedus just kinda looked as bored as I was throughout the entire game. Oftentimes, he just stares off into space wondering what it would be like had Silent Hills not been cancelled. Although to be fair, I don't think it's really his fault, as his character is given nothing interesting to say or do, and mostly just talks through grunting.
Why are you here? You can use the beach? I make deliveries.
Also, while Metal Gear Solid was never particularly subtle, I feel like Kojima respected the intelligence of his audience enough to let them figure out some things on their own. Here, Kojima hits you on the head with the same message of unity over and over and over again, to the point where by the end, the message has completely lost all meaning. However, I have to say the story was just barely interesting enough, and just weird enough to where it's at least worth looking into. There are some cool visuals in the cutscenes, and there are some moments that are so bizarre that it gave me flashbacks to Metal Gear 3. It's just a shame that it doesn't really get to that point until a little after the halfway mark of the game, and by then, it's way too late. If you just want to experience the story, grab some popcorn, turn off your phone, and pull up the 11-hour supercut on YouTube. And when you order Postmates to deliver to your house, make sure you give your delivery man a huge tip, because he had to go through some serious shit just to get your goddamn quesadillas. I wanted to like this game as a fuck you to Konami. I wanted to like this game as a thank you to Sony for supporting auteur-style video game production. I wanted to like this game because I don't ever want to find myself agreeing with IGN. But no matter how hard I try, I cannot recommend this to anybody unless sleeping pills are not helping you out.
Hey, you can't take that many pep pills at once.
No problem. I'll balance it out with a bottle of sleeping pills.
I pumped 47 hours into this game, and there is no way in hell I would have willingly finished it if it wasn't for the sake of this review. So yeah, pretty good game. Overall, I give Death Stranding 209 hourglasses out of 103 polar bears.
We run together.
Run?
Yeah. Like Mario and Princess Peach.
What the fuck is that?
If you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the Game Boys right here on YouTube, and we'll come back with more Game Boys reviews. Thanks. See you later.